All right, let's hit the Wayback Machine. Let me go back 24 hours ago. So we bring in Booger McFarland, ESPN NFL and college football analyst. If I said the likelihood that Russell Wilson was on the move or Aaron Rodgers was on the move, what would you have said, Booger?
Good morning, Dan.
Good morning.
Probably that it was Aaron Rodgers. I think we all expected Aaron Rodgers to be on the move based on the last really 2 years with all the us not knowing what was going to happen, all the hard feelings. But it seemed like there was an epiphany up in Green Bay, and everybody kind of got on the same page. So I think that's why it was a shocker that Aaron stayed, and then the blockbuster a little while later that Russell was leaving.
If I said to Denver, John Elway, you can have Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson, who would you take?
That's not even a question. I take the guy that's won 4 MVPs over the guy that hadn't gotten a single MVP vote. To me, it's not even close.
But if I look at the longevity that I could have Russell Wilson as opposed to Aaron Rodgers, do I factor in age in that answer?
You can factor that in, but I think you could ask the Buccaneers if they factor in age when they chose Tom Brady or vice versa. Tom Brady chose them. They just took the best quarterback at the time, and they got a Super Bowl out of it. And I think they're really, really happy. Now, it puts them in a position now that Brady has retired, that they're looking for a quarterback, but they can always go into the trophy case and look at that Lombardi and that Super Bowl ring. So Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback, but what Russell Wilson does, Dan, is as a player, if I'm on that team, when I go to training camp now, I know we got a guy that gives me a better than a puncher's chance. Like, we got hope to know we can compete with Kansas City, the Chargers, the Las Vegas Raiders in our own division before we even get to the rest of the AFC or the rest of the NFL.
If I said this, and it's a snarky poll question, more likely to appear in the Super Bowl next year, Russell Wilson or Tom Brady?
More likely to? Just based on odds, the fact that one of my odds is not even currently playing in the NFL, I'm going to have to take Russell Wilson. But if Tom Brady were to come back and be on a viable team, let's just say, for instance, since we're in this nice imaginary world, the Buccaneers or the 49ers, those two teams would vault ahead of the Broncos.
All right. Which move did you not like yesterday?
I think sometimes over my lifetime, Dan, and probably yours, how many times have we seen a person or a situation just kind of wear its course? We saw it with Andy Reid in Philadelphia. We've seen it with Tom Brady in New England. I thought we had got to a point where Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay had kind of worn its course. The time to worn out, and both sides needed a change, because you know that those feelings haven't always been on the same page. Now, I know we're going to sing Kumbaya, and they're going to give him 45 to 50 million a year, and everybody's going to say everything is great. But then you, like me, have probably had hard feelings to a person or for a person. And we say, yep, I forgive you, and we move on. But are those feelings really gone? Are they ever really gone, or do we just suppress them based on something that happened or based on our decision to just move on? I just wonder if it doesn't go well in Green Bay. Let's say, for instance, and I do not foresee this because I think they're going to walk away with that division. I think they're going to win 13 games. But let's just say, for instance, something happens bad and they don't get off to a good start, and Brian Gutekunst does something that Aaron doesn't like. You think those feelings are going to come back up? Let's say he cuts somebody. Let's say he cuts Randall Cobb, or he cuts somebody that Aaron really likes. You think those hard feelings are going to come back up? I do. And so I just think at some point there's a time you move on. And I thought the time was now for Green Bay and Aaron to move on.
More pressure on Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers this next season?
I think it's more pressure on Aaron, because Aaron is in a familiar, consistent position. They've won 13 games minimum the last 3 years. If their special teams would have been better, they probably would have won this year. Oh, by the way, they go out and hire Rich Bisaccia, who I think is the best special teams coach in football. So they're taking away every excuse that Aaron has. And Dan, what a travesty it would be for a guy that at the very minimum we say is the most talented quarterback we've ever seen. At the very minimum, you could argue that he, from an individual standpoint, he's one of the more accomplished quarterbacks, winning 4 MVPs. What a travesty that would be if he only wins 1 Super Bowl. And so I think there's a lot of pressure on Aaron Rodgers to win. We don't know what Russell is going to be. Like, remember when I think it was the Eagles or the then known as the Redskins put that team together, and we called them a dream team, and everybody's like, man, they're going to dominate, and they were terrible. So we don't know what Denver is going to be. We don't know what kind of coach Nathaniel Hackett is going to be.
Yeah.
I know what Green Bay and Aaron are, so there's a ton of pressure on him.
Yeah, I look at Denver. They're not quite there yet, but Russ does give you a chance to win every game. And you can't, it's been a long time since we've said that about a Denver quarterback there. I'm curious what Seattle's doing. Pete Carroll's going to be 71. I try not to factor in age, but when I look at a rebuild for a team at that age, and they haven't drafted well, I don't know what they have there. Bobby Wagner, the heart and soul of that football team, he's gone. Now Russ is gone. Drew Lock, I mean, unless they get lucky, they draft somebody or, Deshaun Watson comes to town. What do you make of Seattle's logic here?
Well, Seattle, I think, realized that they were the fourth best team in the NFC West with Russell Wilson. So if we're going to be that, let's not pay a guy $34 million, whatever he's owed this year, and be the fourth best team in our division. The fact that they've traded Russell, they've gotten rid of Bobby Wagner, they're clearly rebuilding at the very minimum. Now I just wonder why they have a $17.5 million safety in Jamal Adams. That contract sticks out with what they're doing, so I don't know if they can trade that contract. So they're rebuilding, but they can't really all kind of go all in on rebuilding because of that contract. So I think Pete Carroll, he's a young 70, if there ever was a thing. Probably like, you, Dan, you're like a young 80. I mean, both you guys are kind of in the same boat there. Younger, more vibrant than you really are. And so I think Pete is probably saying, hey, if we get super lucky, we can package our picks and be in on Deshaun Watson if that legal situation gets resolved. If we get super lucky. If at the very worst, we're going to have a lot of picks. And if we like a quarterback this year or next year, we can draft one, and then we will be on a 3 to 5 year trajectory to rebuild.
Do you remember running the 40 at the Combine?
Yes, I ran the 40 at the Combine. I was tired as hell, but I remember my time like the meal I ate this morning.
Okay. That time was?
And hopefully I got it right, 4.85.
Paulie, what do you have for Booger?
Yeah, Booger McFarland out of LSU at the NFL Combine, 4.85, which one of the fastest all time if he were 1 pound heavier. He weighed in at 299 pounds. If he had weighed in at 300, you would have been in a group with one of the fastest 300-plus pounders of all time in Combine history.
So here's a little backstory to that. We did a lot of testing. The 40 time was the last thing we do. I was dog tired, etc. I ran 4.85 at 299. At my pro day, which was a month later, where the only thing I did was run, I weighed in at 302, and I ran in some waffle bottom track shoes that I had gotten from the track team. So at 302, there was a varying degree of times from 4.59 to 4.71 that day.
Oh, boy. Wow. That's impressive. And then
Dan, here's the thing. Dan, here's the thing you got to realize. I wasn't 6'6" like Jordan Davis or 340. So the thing that made my game really attractive to being a first-round pick was I was short, thick, and athletic, things that normally don't go together. But if you look at the best defensive tackles, I would argue over the last 25 years, I'm going to name them. Not that I am in the category because I'm not. But let's take a look at them. John Randall, 6'2", 285. Warren Sapp, 6'2", 285, 290. Aaron Donald, 6'1", 285. You follow me? Like the best guys aren't 6'6", 6'7". The best guys are those short, thick, extremely athletic defensive tackles.
I know, but I look at him at 6'6". If he can't get to the quarterback, just putting those hands up and how he could disrupt that defensive line in a different way than what Aaron Donald does. Aaron Donald uses leverage and he gets to the quarterback. This kid, if he doesn't get there, he's going to put his hands up, and at 6'6", going to make it really difficult for you.
I'll agree. I think where he's drafted is going to determine the expectations that we have for him. Let's look at Cleveland Farrell, who was drafted 4th overall by the Raiders. He's looked at as a bust. Not because he's not a really good player. He's just not a sack guy. And that's where you expect, or that's what you expect him to be when you draft him 4th overall. So I think the expectations are going to be relative to where Jordan Davis is drafted. If he's drafted in the top 10 based on that combine performance, it's going to be a disappointment because he's never going to be a sack guy. To me, he's Shawn Rogers. Remember Shawn Rogers that played for the Lions? Shawn Rogers played 10 years. You know how many sacks he had in his career? 37. So 3 sacks a year. But Shawn Rogers was a good player. He was kind of dominant in his own way. Haloti Nada. Like, this is the type of player I think that Jordan Davis could be. But the one thing that concerns me about Jordan Davis, and I think if you ask any defensive lineman who goes back and watches the tape, the biggest thing that I think that can deter him from being really good is he's got to be able to do it not on play 1. Can he do it on play 24? Can he do it after he's had a meat Friday at home? Can he do it on play 39 on Sunday? Okay, that'll be the key, Dan, because he's got to be in shape. And it's hard to play 4 quarters at 6'6", 341. It's hard. He's got to get in better shape because I can show you tape where he literally walks off the ball against Alabama and stands there and doesn't move. Like, you have more movement now in your neck than he had on that play. And that's embarrassing for a guy who turned the combine upside down this weekend.
Always great to talk to you, Booger. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Anytime, Dan, always. I see my picture still hasn't gotten over your head, but I'm still efforting.
Yeah. Once again, you got a jersey, you got a picture. We will put it up here. We just don't want anything from Dan Orlovsky because, yes, Marcus Spears trying to muscle his way in, get something up here behind me. So just letting you know, you're not the only defensive lineman I'm talking to.
I love it. The jersey's on the way.
Thank you, buddy. That's Booger McFarland, ESPN NFL and college football analyst.